Hi everybody. I hope you've all enjoyed the final week of the Tour, and prior to the Vuelta, I figured I'd squeeze in one more. Because this Saturday brings us the Clasica San Sebastian, the most prestigious Spanish one-day race. It has proper monument proportions, running over 236k and going up and down all day, good for an impressive 4,435 meters of elevation gain. It features a bunch of categorized climbs, with the final three ones, Jaizkibel, Erlaitz and Pilotegi, presenting the classical finale to this race. Erlaitz and Pilotegi's average gradients are in the double digits, and from the top of the final climb there's roughly 8k to go, basically a descent and some flat into the finish. With this parcours, it may be no surprise that we often see a mix of climby punchy types battling it out for the win. Here's an overview of the winners of the final 10 editions, with Remco Evenepoel, the freshly crowned double gold medalist, being the absolute king of San Sebastian, putting 3 out of the 4 final editions to his name. The race has been run since 1981 and was won solo 50% of the time, with most of the other editions decided in a sprint of less than 5 riders. We have 3 former winners lining up at this year's edition, Mollema, Alaphilippe and Paulus, as well as some other riders with an above average number of top 10 finishes compared to their starts taken. Drawing my particular attention are Benoot, Jon Izagirre, Lorenzo Rota, Michael Woods and Baggioli. Betting odds were not yet available at the time of recording, yet here's the riders to watch in my book. Starting with Alaphilippe at Soudal Quickstep, he's been very active and eager in the Giro earlier this year and seems to have carried his form well, just falling outside of the top 10 on the Olympic road race. Narvaez at the Grenadiers, it's his 3rd participation here, yet he doesn't look like he's carried his early season form very well. Hirschi or Sivakov at UAE, it's Hirschi's 3rd participation here. He's been on the podium in 2019 and was 13th on last year's edition, while Sivakov was 2nd here on his first participation in 2022. His form this year hasn't been up there though, in my opinion. On top, I'll also be watching youngster Del Toro. And despite the presence of Kuss, I'm going with Benoot at Visma LAB. His track record here is pretty impressive, 10th last year and on the podium in 22. Pello Bilbao, last year's runner-up, is the one to watch at Bahrain Victorious. At EF, they've made some last-minute changes, with Hugh Carty replacing Carapaz. Carty hasn't impressed me yet this year though, so I'll be going with Paulus instead, winner in 21 and 4th on last year's edition. Also, Red Bull made some last-minute changes, replacing Roglic with Higuita, which frankly leaves me a bit in doubt as per the rider to go with. Higuita himself, maybe Aliotti can surprise, or is my man Martinez the one to watch? His track record here is horrible though. At Movistar, Aramburu is the man to watch, 7th here on last year's edition, and from what we've seen so far, in better shape this year around. Youngster Lenny Martinez is a first-time starter here, yet one to watch in my opinion. The same goes for Van Gils at Lotto Destiny. He can handle the volume and finds a course here that really suits him. Simon Yates at Jaiko Alula, who's been 6th and 7th here in the past. At Trek we have Mollema, the rider with the most impressive palmarès in this year's starting field, with 10 top 10s out of 12 race starts. That being said, he seems to have had his best days, so I'm going to call Ciccone instead. He came home here in 14th and 11th on his earlier participations. Baggioli was 9th on last year's edition on his first participation, yet he hasn't been firing on all pistons this year around. And finally, I'll also be keeping an eye on the following riders: Tobias Halland Johannessen at Juno X, Axel Laurens at Alpecin de Koning, Lorenzo Rota at Intermarché, and Jon Izagirre at Cofidis, who always strives here, 5th on last year's edition. In terms of stars, Mark Hirschi is my only 4-star favorite, Van Gils and Bilbao each get 3 stars, Benoot, Alaphilippe and Aramburu each get 2 stars, and Narvaez, Ciccone, Simon Yates and Jon Izagirre each get 1 star. In terms of podium prediction for the 2024 Clasica San Sebastian, I'm calling Hirschi for the win ahead of Bilbao and Van Gils. Enjoy the race and see you soon for my full Vuelta preview.